second game with you called Battleship. This is a game that came to my attention from Kelly McKenlis when I was teaching a level 3 class in our national education program on conditions of effective practice. She shared this game with us as a strategy to train for transfer. And it is a great game for transfer, but as I've played this game and tweaked it over the years, it also serves as a great game for resilience training. Let's take a look. So what supplies do we need for Battleship? Like Pirates Gold, Battleship is not very expensive. You need a box of rubber ducks, some colorful golf balls and cones, some rulers or alignment rods, and some junior golfers. So how do you play Pirates Gold? It's simple. When the kids arrive at the station, divide them into even groups of 2. In this case, I've set the station up assuming I have 6 players. 2 players on pink team, 2 players on blue team, and 2 players on the yellow team. Each team will have a total of 8 golf balls to putt per round, and there are several rounds in this game. Player 1 will putt all 4 balls first, while player 2 stands in the safety zone. Then when player 1 is done with all 4 balls, that player goes to the safety zone and the player in the safety zone comes forward and putts all of his or her 4 balls. If a player putts a ball and it touches any part of the battleship, in this case, our battleship is 3 ducks big, any part, then they can retrieve the entire battleship. I simply ask the kids to leave their golf balls out on the putting green until the end of the round, and when they return to their station, that they leave their battleship intact because that will be important for subsequent rounds. After all teams have completed all 8 putts for round 1, while the players are retrieving their balls for round 2, I add a few more battleships, only these are different sizes. We still have the original battleships that are 3 ducks big. That's a battleship. But I also add aircraft carriers, which are 5 ducks big, and kayaks, which are only 1 duck big. And I define the points a little differently for the different sizes. So for our largest target, our aircraft carrier, I make that worth 5 points. For our medium-sized target, our battleship, I make that worth 10 points. And for our smallest, more challenging target, the kayak, I make that worth 15 points. The players proceed just as they did in round 1, retrieving their ships if their ball touches any part of the ship, and leaving their golf balls until all players have completed round 2. Once the players have finished round 2, we add a little more spice for round 3. We add the rods of doom. So I designate certain battleships worth more points. For example, I might say this battleship's worth 25 points. However, if you hit this battleship, again, any place on the battleship, but your ball is going at a pace that hits this rod, then you lose all of your ducks. If you hit the battleship at an appropriate putting pace to sink this putt, then you would get a larger prize. I might say this battleship is worth 25 points instead of 10. You can use alignment rods. I like to use my Color Path golf rulers because they're colorful and fun. And then a second option on this game, in this round, If there are actual putting cups where we're playing, then I'll place a duck next to the hole. And if the player putts and hits the duck, but their ball doesn't go into the cup, then they'll earn a larger prize, maybe 25, maybe 50 points. But if the ball hits the duck and goes into the cone because they hit it at too fast a pace, then once again, they lose all of the battleships they've gained at that point. So it's kind of a risk-reward challenge for the kids. The fourth round of Battleship, I designate one special unique duck. In this case, robo-duck. What I do is I take this one duck and I put it somewhere far, making it a little more challenging. I leave all of the other stations set up. I leave all of the other battleships that haven't been sunk set up. But I simply tell the players that if they happen to hit robo-duck, robo-duck is worth 100 points. And the point of robo-duck is to get the teams that aren't in the game, that maybe only have a few battleships, to be able to come back into the game. After the players have retrieved all of their balls from round 4, round 5 includes another interesting twist, again with the intention of bringing players or teams that aren't in the game back into the game. Remember, we're training for resilience. So I put cones that match the team colors, blue, yellow, and pink, out on the putting green. And in this round, players can of course continue to try to sink various battleships, kayaks, or aircraft carriers, but they also have an additional target that they can aim for. If, for example, the yellow or pink team puts a ball and hits the blue cone, that's a steal. They take the blue cone with them and they steal all of the blue team's battleships. If the blue team hits the blue cone, they take the blue team's cone and they protect their stash. So there's an opportunity for everyone to steal another team's battleships, and there's an opportunity for them to try to protect their own stash. Once all rounds are complete, I ask all players to tally up how many points they have. For example, this pink team has 2 ships, 2 kayaks, each worth 15 points, an aircraft carrier worth 5, and 2 battleships worth 10. So we've got 30, 35, 45, 55 points. That would be the pink team total. All teams tally up their points, and then the team with the most points wins. I like to use increments of 5 points because that's easier for most kids to count quickly. After the players have tallied up their points and you've determined the winner, and you can adapt the number of rounds you do depending on the time that you have, but once you've determined the winner, the winning team, I like to have a discussion because it's always interesting to observe the different strategies that different players adopt in this game. I've had teams adapt a very, what I'll call, steady Eddie approach, where it doesn't matter what high value, high risk targets I put out there, they hang with the 3 and 5 duck ships because that's easier and they have a steadier stream of victories, mini victories. And then I have other players who they just go for the gusto. They want robo-duck. They want the duck that's on the edge of the cup that's worth 50 points. They don't want to bother with the 5 or 10 point ships. And so when the game is finished, that's the teachable moment for mental skills. That's the time where as coaches, we bring the players together and help train for resilience. We discuss what was your strategy and did it serve you? It's important that players take time after a match, after a practice session, to have a post-performance evaluation. What worked? What didn't work? And if it didn't work, what can we do differently moving forward? It's that growth mindset that's so critical for resilience.